Nicole, I want to ask you because I see you on television all the time in an ad for AMC theaters. You
Yeah.
are holding us up for the industry with that, the glories of watching movies on the big screen.
Yeah. Because we want people to see movies in theaters. I mean, I do. Yes, there's television. Yes, you can go stream things. Yes, yes, yes. But hey, there's still nothing like going to a cinema, right? And it is frightening at times, and with all the things that have gone on in the last couple of years, but it is still beyond special sitting there watching a film on the big screen. I will always love doing it.
I love the way they shot that too. What movie
It
were
was
you?
Jeff Cronenworth who shot this film.
Oh,
Oh,
So he's a
really?
wow.
master,
Oh,
yeah. And I
wow.
said to him, "Would you help us out?" And Billy Ray wrote it, and so everyone pitched in because wanting to keep, and a lot of the crew that did the being the Ricardos just came along for the day, and we did it really quick, and we did it to get it out there.
I Love Lucy, episode 204, season 2, episode 4. Ethel and Fred fight. Teleplay by Bob Carroll, Madeline Pugh, and myself.
The three of you to write this one?
Okay, come on. And directing this week, Donald Glass is back with us. Let's give him a hand. It's good to be back. Act 1, interior, the Ricardo's living room night.
Excuse me, Donald.
Yes,
Good morning, I'm Lucille Ball.
I sure know that, Lucy.
I wanted to make sure because you haven't been here in a while. Is it because you've been going through puberty?
I look young, yes, but I went through it a long time ago, and I haven't been here because I've been directing at Danny Thomas.
With the communist kid? Fuck off.
Jesus Christ. You don't have to fuck off, but you do need to know that Danny does jokes. Few people do it better. I do physical comedy.
I've seen every episode of the show.
So have 60 million other people. Are none of them professional television directors?
She's kidding.
I can tell.
I'm hazing you a little, Donald. It's just my way of saying I have no confidence in you at all.
I can't imagine the challenge here, Nicole, of playing somebody that is probably, certainly at one time, the most famous face on the planet. And the same for Desi Arnaz, too. I mean, this show is watched by 60 million people a week. You can't imagine. What was it like for you when you got the script? I'm just curious, did you immediately say, yes, I'm going to do this, Nicole, or...
Yeah. I'm crazy. I did. I said yes because it's Aaron Sorkin, and it was such an incredible screenplay, and that's what you do as an actor. You take massive chances, and you jump in, and you don't overthink it, and you should be intuitive, and not intellectual about it, And so then it becomes like, oh, now I have to do the work. So the idea of it was like, wow, and the actual doing of it was climbing a mountain.
How much work goes into it before the cameras roll for you, in terms of months, weeks, whatever you put into this in creating this portrait of Lucy?
On this, months,
Yeah.
months and months. I mean, we were in our homes because we were all still, I was in Australia and we were on lockdown, a very strict lockdown. So I was able to Zoom, but I was able to study the show and study her and work with my dialect coach and work with a movement coach and just really do everything over Zoom, but still put in time, which, a lot of times you don't have. It's like quick. And on this, I actually did have the time. When I first took it on, it didn't hit me that I was playing this iconic character and that there would be a huge number of people that would be very territorial and possessive of her. I just thought, what an amazing role, what an amazing woman, and what an amazing chance to work with everybody involved. And and Aaron Sorkin was such a great person to do it because he then was able to handle both of us when we got frightened or overwhelmed or, he's very, very solid and consistent, Aaron. And he's very definitive. He knows what he wants. He's written it. He's directing it and he's written it. So he's the writer-director. Fantastic combination.
Javier, I think you were in a lot earlier. You knew about this and you wanted to play it. And in this case, as a role, you went after it. Is that right?
Absolutely. I heard about it like 4 or 5 years ago that there was a project about this couple, and I knew about Lucy a little bit because the show isn't as popular as it is here. And then I started to dig in and see who this Desi Arnaz was, and I started to watch the show, and I was immediately attracted to him as an energy, as a comedian, as a singer, as a musician. And then I read the book, his book called A Book, and I saw all the complexity of the man who came from Cuba to States, and being a foreigner created this empire, if you want to call it, because Desi Productions became an empire, but mostly became an artist and a musician, the one that he wanted to always be, without shame, without stopping himself or putting sticks on his own wheels, because he was a foreigner. He really made everybody understand that he earned the room, he earned the space, because he was skilled. He was amazingly talented.
Aaron Sorkin told me that whatever he asked you, you said yes immediately. Yeah, I can play the congas.
Of course.
Yeah, I can sing. I can do it all. Is that what an actor has to do when you're talking to a director?
Of course. And then the moment comes and you hang up the phone and you go, fuck. And then you immediately call someone that helps you to learn how to play the guitar, to sing, to play the congas, to ride a horse, to drive a car. I don't drive. So
to do physical comedy.
Exactly.
Yeah, physical
to
comedy.
juggle. No.
I mean, Nicole, when you look at those Lucy shows and you see the amount of physical comedy that you did, and that you do briefly in this movie as well, in little bits and pieces, like stomping grapes and different things like that, that is like daunting for anybody, I would think, to try to recreate.
Exciting as well. I mean, daunting and then exciting, because there was something, once I started releasing into it and just going, and trying it and freeing up my body. And I would send Aaron over text, little videos of me doing the different scenes. And I'd be like, is this, I'd have my hair pulled back and sweatpants on and just be working on it. And it was crazy the way this thing came together. And he would send back going, wow, it's so good. He was not that interested in the carbon copy of Lucy. He was just like, okay, but let's concentrate on Lucille. He was always bringing it back to that there were two parts to this film from me. And that was the Lucy Ricardo and the Lucille Ball. And they were very different.
When I've talked to you in the past, I always use the word risk. Of almost any actor I know, when you look at the projects you choose and those things, they're not like, oh, I can do this easily, No, it's there's always a risk factor, it seems, that intrigues you.
I'm just crazy. Batshit crazy.
That's good. That's what you should be if you're an actor.
And I'm deeply spontaneous, so I just, through my whole life, I've made very spontaneous decisions, and some of them work out and some of them don't. I continue to do that in my 50s. Most people now would be more gun shy, but I'm like, yeah, give it a go. And then I do have to say I did a play recently in London. It seems recently, it was about 4 years ago. And that was like the same amount of adrenaline and fear. Felt like doing theater, because every day we were showing up and it was like, you better deliver and you better do it. And if you don't, we're going to be here until you do. There's a lot of dialogue and there was a lot of pace, and the greatest actors in the industry. And it's like, yikes, we're a team and I don't want to let the team down.
And for you, Javier, when I see you doing Desi on stage, that Desi Arnaz singing and playing you have such a spirit of it. The spirit of it is it so comes across that it doesn't matter if you hadn't sung before or anything. Looked like you were somehow channeling him, that kind of on stage thing.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I guess it's all about, for me, it was always, it was not so much about the technical aspect of it all, of his, because I don't think he was too technical on anything. It was more the impulse, the organic need of expressing himself through music, through laughter, and even the ideas were brilliant ideas were coming from the heart, from the guts. Very well thought, but not too much reflected on spending lots of time thinking. I think I don't know him that I didn't know him, but I think that is more of a force of nature, a man with a very specific energy that had to do with the body. For me, it was more about bringing and putting the body in everything he would do. He couldn't stop. I didn't see him sitting down for too long, for example, or he was always expressing very much himself, like and very open to the people. He was loving, caring, funny, charming. Those things you have to portray in a way, and the lines and the text, the words, the scenes are beautifully written, and how smart he was is already on the words. So you don't need to play smart. His intelligence is already written by Aaron Sorkin, so you don't need to play intelligence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh, totally. And and this is also obviously about a marriage. It's about a relationship and a kind of desperate need to keep it together, both people in show business. And when I look at you two, Nicole, you're married to a very famous musician who's on the road performing everywhere. Of course, Javier, you're married to Penelope Cruz, so you're both in the business. So did that understanding of that element of Lucy and Desi come through to you too, just from that point of view?
For me, it's funny. I've been asked this question more here in the promotion of the movie, and I never thought it that way. And I guess it's because I always saw them in the moment where they are making a show out of their marriage. That there is a detachment from myself. It's like I've worked with my wife in 3 movies,
right?
But to make it weekly show for I don't know how many years and make a brand together, that's something that I don't know. I don't think I would ever be able to do. So I've never thought it that way.
Yeah, no, me either, actually. I mean, what's interesting about Desi and Lucy is, yes, they worked together. They were meant to be together, I feel. Creatively, they were meant to be together. What they gave to the world through their creative union, they had the romantic union where they had 2 beautiful children. They had a creative union that feels like it was almost predestined. And they were gorgeous together. And even though it didn't last to Death Do Us Part, there was such success to their relationship. And I think you see the love that they had for each other in the show they created, in the legacy they've left, and that's what I like to focus on with them. Yeah, they fought and they had all of these demons and they had their flaws, but by gosh, they gave us I Love Lucy. And the children is their other. I mean, they created these 2 little people who we now know Lucy very well, and she's been incredibly supportive.
Did she say anything to either of you or Desi Jr. that's off limits on this, or was it because Aaron Sorkin said she was basically saying put it all out there?
For me, I was so full on learning to sing, learning to play the conga, getting the accent, getting the physicality, understand who he was, read the book, that I didn't approach her until we were shooting in the middle of the shoot. I approached her and said, okay, now I think I more or less have managed to understand the base. What about the details? And she sent me these beautiful audio tapes of his father speaking in private. And I could say that what we imagined, what we've constructed, what Aaron Sorkin brought is what it is. It was, in the sense that his energy was present all the time. On the show, he would push it a little bit harder to make fun of it, especially the accent, but he was very much the same man on and off.
It's so amazing. The 2 of them were so far ahead of their time in terms of the business, in terms of production and things. And Nicole, you got your own production company. Blossom, you're doing your own development, and things like Lucy sort of paved the way for a lot of performers in this to take charge. She was one of the first that I can remember, and Desi too.
I had no idea. I mean, that's why I'm glad this film was out there. I did not know her story. I knew the I Love Lucy part of her. I didn't know what was behind the curtain. And I love her all that much more because of what I know about her now. And yeah, she paved the way. She was extraordinary, and they were extraordinary. I mean, Desi Lu Productions, they didn't just have the I Love Lucy show, they had Mission Impossible, Star Trek. I mean, they were, it's my understanding, they bought RKO at one point. Yeah. I mean, they were powerful as a couple.